Ambassador, thank you for this interview and thank you for your time. Sir, we'll just go directly to it na no.
Yeah.
The president kasi was just recently interviewed sa radio with uh Mr. Tulfo, and he mentioned something about the MDT. Sir, what specific aspect of the Mutual Defense Treaty between the Philippines and the United States do you think President Bongbong Marcos and President Joe Biden are expected to discuss during their official visit in Washington, D.C.?
Well, I'm not. I cannot really specify what, but if the president had said that, I'm sure that that will be part of his discussion with President Biden. But not only with President Biden, he's also expected to meet with other government officials like Secretary Austin, as far as the defense portion of our relationship is concerned. So it'll be the president who will drive this conversation, and I'm sure that he has already something in mind, exactly what he would like to specifically ask President Biden.
Absolutely. But sir, based from your meetings with the President Marcos, and other relevant government agencies in the past or in the past few months, um, how do we propose Philippines to evolve the visiting forces agreement and the mutual defense treaty with the United States in light of the changing situation in the South China Sea, Taiwan, and North Korea?
I think that first and foremost, President Marcos's objective is for the defense of our country. That is it is, as I said, a defense strategy that has been put in place, and the Mutual Defense Treaty, the Visiting Forces Agreement, the EDCA sites, all of this are all part and parcel of our defense strategy, which also obviously involves the modernization of our armed forces. All that, if you look at the entire picture, is what will lead to what we call a credible defense posture. So when you have that, obviously our country is looking towards finding ways and means to find peaceful solution from a position of strength. You know, it's always best to be able to talk turkey, so to speak, when you are clear about what is the parameters of your discussion. That I think is what is in the mind of the president as far as our defense strategy is concerned with the United States.
Yes. Ambassador, hindi na naman po ito bago. I mean, kahit nung nakaraang administrasyon, si Pangulong Duterte, no, nababanggit na rin po na yung Mutual Defense Treaty or MDT is quite old, no? And medyo luma na yung kasi 1951 pa po ata yun, sir, no? Sir, can you provide lang siguro further, para lang ma-enlight din yung viewers natin, can you provide further context regarding that statement that the MDT or Mutual Defense Treaty is old and actually outdated, and maybe explain specifically which parts of the treaty are no longer relevant in light of the new framework for US presence for the Indo-Pacific region?
Well, alam mo, JP, yung sinasabi ni Presidente na evolving, nag-i-evolve na nga ngayon, actually. So, parang parang any kind of agreement, when you look at it and review it, you try to make it stronger and better. Like the Constitution, our Constitution is kind of outdated, especially on the economic provision. So that needs to be updated. So ganun rin sa mga agreements natin, especially when it concerns our defense, no? So yung Mutual Defense Treaty, it's been there since 1951. So ngayon, klarong-klaro na the United States has said on various levels of the government that our defense of the Philippines is ironclad. So kung may mangyari sa atin, the United States will come into the picture and help us defend our country, which I think is very important for all of us. I think we have some measure of comfort that we have a major ally like the United States na talagang papasok yung defense, yung Mutual Defense Treaty natin sa kanila. So that I think is one main clear provision that is now klarong-klaro na talaga ngayon. Kasi noon, di ba, maraming mga salita na sinasabi nila, kung merong Mutual Defense Treaty, tayo, agrabyado tayo dahil ang United States kailangan nilang congressional act. Ang lumalabas ngayon, hindi na ganon, no? So, kasi, siyempre, pag meron ng magkagulo, nandiyan na kagad yung US, hindi na sila maghihingi pa ng approval, so to speak, from their Congress. So, yun ang pinakamaganda ngayong na nangyari na the evolving of our the involvement of our mutual defense treaty.
Right. Pero all of those, sir, statements and parang affirmation from the US government many times, kailangan yan maisulat ulit po, kumbaga ma-update yung MDT, mailagay po yon. Kunyari, yung sa Congress, ganun.
Meron na, alam mo, meron tayong mutual defense board na nagmi-meeting yan. Actually, they can even meet every year. Pero lahat yan nakalagay na yan sa addendum or agreements. Ang ating mga officers dyan sa armed forces natin, they're well aware of what are the things that need to be updated. Pero that is really parang ano yan parang yan ang constitution natin, so to speak, no? In terms of what our mutual defense treaty, what it's all about. Pero yung mga additional ones, yung visiting forces agreement, yung modernization ng ating armed forces at saka yung EDCA sites, yan parang ano na nga yan addendum to that mutual defense treaty. Kasi meron tayong yun ang tinatawag natin na matagal ng relasyon sa United States, na lahat itong mga ginagawa natin para sa ating bayan, na tayo we will have a very strong defense establishment, that we can defend ourselves, na hindi natin kailangan ng ibang bayan to come to our aid, unless of course kung talagang full-blown conflict na tayo. Meron na tayong full-blown conflict.
So tama po ba, Ambassador, yung understanding na while luma na siya, ito po ay napag-usapan naman many times at kumbaga na-include na yung mga sinasabing parang outdated dun sa mga addendum, kumbaga, in short, there's nothing more to worry about dahil na-address naman yun.
So sa tingin ko, it is just my personal feeling that the President would like to just clarify, perhaps, no? Kung sinabi niya yan recently sa radio interview niya, na kina-clarify lang niya na lahat itong ginagawa natin ay para sa defense strategy ng Pilipinas. We're not setting this up dahil sasabi. Okay, pwede tayo tumuloy.
Go ahead, sir.
You repeat your question again.
Yes, sir, I was just asking kasi yung tungkol doon sa sinasabing outdated, luma na, pero it appears na yung sinasabi ng Pangulo na evolve, kumbaga in short, napag-usapan na naman yon, wala nang dapat ipag-alala kasi may mga agam-agam yung ibang mga na yun nga, it's quite outdated, ganyan. So it's all been discussed already. Tama po ba, sir?
Like I said, continuous yan lahat naman yan. Everything is always everything is negotiable in terms of ito, kailangan nating ayusin ito kasi hindi tayo masyadong klaro dito, no? Yung ganun. Si Presidente lagi naman siyang, he always wants to make something very his character is such that he wants to make everything really precise and perfect. Ayaw niya yung neither here nor there. So yan ang ni Presidente. He would like to always clarify, make sure that everything is exactly what it says. So perhaps that's what he has in mind. I'm just of course second guessing, no?
Yes.
I cannot really say exactly what it is, because that is the prerogative of the President, since he's the chief foreign policy what you call this, who makes the foreign policy for the country. So he can very well override whatever agreements that have been made in the past in terms of some of these things, which is really more on perfecting it rather than changing it.
Sir, based on your conversation with the President, is there something bothering him about the current existing provisions, or that he wants to be clarified?
Not at all. Not at all. That is definitely not the case. President Marcos is, as I said, the type of person that always wants to make sure everything is in order. Ayaw niya yung something that is hanging, especially is important as our relationship with the United States. Kaya nga pupunta siya ito eh. Ano ba si President Marcos said many times nga kung hindi naman kailangan, hindi siya pupunta, ano? Pero ito, importante sa atin ito. So he's making the effort to make this very important meeting happen between him and President Biden. Dahil marami tayong kailangan pag-usapan sa Amerika eh. At saka very important rin kay Presidente yung follow-up ng kanyang mga business meetings sa New York. Mag-iisang taon na, so we want to make sure. Marami nang gumalaw diyan, pero gusto niya pa rin ma-meet yung mga ka-meeting niya sa New York at saka yung mga maraming interesado sa mag-invest sa Pilipinas ngayon. We have so much interest precisely because of all of these agreements that we have the United States itong EDCA. Kasi alam mo, ang US, American businessmen will always look at peace and security as part and parcel of their portfolio into investing into a country. Gusto nila very stable yung country na yan, walang problema, no? So with this anong tawag dito, itong competition with China, naghahanap sila ng ibang area sa ASEAN region kung saan sila pwede mag-invest. Tayo ngayon, we're number one. So our investment climate is so high. The IMF World Bank has said so. Our GDP is the highest in the Asian region right now, in spite of all the things that have happened. So talagang ang tawag dito, yung our time has come, so to speak. Ito na yung atin eh. Kaya the president is taking advantage of all of that.
Can you provide some names of those companies na sobrang interesado na pwedeng magkaroon ng actual foreign direct investment sa Pilipinas that would, eventually translate to jobs in the Philippines? Ano pong industriya to or kumpanya, if you can mention some?
Well, definitely yung semiconductor industry. A lot of that is moving out of, well, not really moving out, but moving some of their facilities to friendly countries like the Philippines, because there are some of these production of these chips that are critical for security, for the United States. So tinitingnan nila ang Pilipinas to increase their investments in that area. And then of course, meron tayong sa digital technology, another area also that they would like to invest in the Philippines, because again, it has something to do with the security. Yung mga supply, yung supplies na importante, like what happened during COVID. Marami itong mga supplies medyo natigil niya ng China because they were having trade issues. So hindi nila nagustuhan. So naghahanap sila ng other places where they can invest. At tayo, we're in the front line. Kaya nga, I was very pleased when we had yung ating mga economic managers dito. Ang napakaganda ng timing nila dahil we had just finished our 2+2. Dumating yung World Bank IMF spring meetings. Nandito yung mga economic managers, nagkaroon tayo ng Philippine Economic Briefing. Ang daming American companies na pumunta at lahat sila not only were they interested, pero believe sila sa economy natin ngayon. Na pataas nga eh. You see? So, again, maraming nangyari dito na talagang sa lahat ng mga na experience ko in the past, I've never seen anything like this now. Yung interest is there. So kaya napakaganda ng timing ng trip ng presidente dito sa Amerika.
Are we expecting mga tipong Tesla, McDonald's, may mga ganun bang levels company?
That's part of it, no? Tayo meron tayong mga minerals sa kailangan ng mga companies like Tesla that to produce the batteries. So we're looking at having those minerals act that we can have some concessions coming for our being able to export to the United States. Some concessions that will be helpful for both our countries. All that is very important that will be taken up during the trip of the president here. Yung defense niyan, parang ano na yan eh. That's just just part of it, pero hindi yun ang main objective ng trip ng presidente dito. His trip here is a full-blown trip at saka talagang full na full yung schedule ng presidente dito. Tinatanong ko nga sa kanya kung okay lang sa kanya. Sabi niya, hindi naman ako pupunta dyan para magbakasyon. Sabi niya, I'm going there to do what we need to do. Kaya kung okay lang sa kanya yung schedule, no matter how tight it is. Because he really wants to make this a very good and fruitful trip. And I'm so happy that he has that kind of stamina and attitude because we certainly are just so pleased that he's coming now to Washington, D.C.
Sir, can you provide details sa actual meeting ni President Marcos and POTUS, President Biden? Paano ba yung magiging scenario nun? What will happen? What day specifically is that again? And ano bang paano ba yung magiging setup nun visually?
Well, I'm sure you've seen these meetings happen in the Oval Office. So, pero the president's coming here on the 30th, and so he will then the next morning he will be proceeding to the White House, where he will have a closed door meeting with President Biden. Of course, he will have the usual welcome at the White House, and then he will have a private meeting with President Biden at the Oval Office, where they will discuss a whole range of issues. Yan, basically, parang silang dalawa lang yan. Of course, kasama yung mga those that have to be there in that meeting. Then magkakaroon ng expanded meeting pagkatapos nun with the other cabinet secretaries natin at saka yung sa US. So dyan, lahat ng mga gusto natin pag-usapan sa Amerika i-discuss dyan sa meeting na yan. So it will be a very good substantial meeting with at the White House, which will be kickoff what the president will be doing here in Washington D.C. Every single day, lahat yan puno yung schedule niya for meetings that all is geared towards economic activity between the two countries.
Okay.
And that's why I'm very, very optimistic na this trip will probably be the best ever.
Sir, may just briefly shift, go back lang quickly to the security aspect. Sir, considering the strategic importance of the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, is there a possibility that the number of EDCA sites will be further expanded aside from the current additional 4 that we have now?
Well, alam mo, anything is possible. Pero right now, we just have to concentrate on the fact that we have these 4 new EDCA sites. And we will finish this first before we start talking about any other expansion. Again, always remember that the objective of this exercise is for the defense strategy ng Pilipinas. Yan ang main objective dyan. We want to be able to have a defense strategy that will also these EDCA sites will also be used for our troops to be able to work together, interoperability nga, di ba? Whenever we have this visiting forces agreement. And more importantly is the disaster preparedness. These sites are going to make our troops in those areas, together with US troops, ready for any disaster, because we are one of the most vulnerable countries when it comes to climate change. I think that this is where, alam mo, maraming mga, well, not really that many, there's really a very small minority that does not believe in these EDCA agreements that we have. No? Pero makikita nila yan how effective it is. Pag dumating ang araw, and it will happen, kung magkaroon tayo ng disaster. Iba na yung ready na tayo this time. We all learned our lesson from what happened in 2013. November 8, 2013, nagkaroon ng the biggest storm ever that hit, I think, anywhere in the world. 10,000 people ang namatay sa atin dyan. And we were not ready. Napakaswerte natin, which showed the resources the United States had. Naswerte lang tayo na nandiyan yung George Washington, yung USS George Washington, yung kanilang aircraft carrier that was actually in Hong Kong. So they were able to come to our aid after 1.5 or 2 days. Nandiyan na sila sa Gulf of Leyte. you cannot imagine how many people's lives were saved in there because maraming mga areas sa Leyte at saka Samar na hindi na maabutan ng ating mga rescue workers. So it needed a country like the United States. And then sunod-sunod na pagkatapos na dumating na yung mga ibang bayan like Britain and Australia and Japan. Lahat yan dumating at tumulong sa atin. So yan ang talagang use niyan. When people see that, then they will be convinced na tama itong ginagawa natin. Hindi to dahil gusto lang natin magpapasikat na nagpapalapit tayo sa Amerika. Hindi ganun yan eh. We are now a country that is looking out for ourselves. At saka they respect us for that. We are doing things that will be good for the country. That's the bottom line. Kung anong makakabuti para sa atin, yan ang ginagawa ngayon ng gobyerno natin ngayon. Leadership of President Marcos.
Pero sir, ito ano lang, malinaw naman po yung mensahe ng EDCA. Pero sir, nabalitaan niyo naman din siyempre yung mga sinasabi ng yung mga concern ng ilang mambabatas, at ilang grupo na sinasabi nila na baka ito pong areang to ay ginagamit para mapalapit ang Amerika sa Taiwan kasi may conflict din sila doon. Ito po ba sir, meron po bang pag ganito po ba may ginagawang response or reply ang Amerika? O do they actually say something about this? Kung ano yung mga ganyang klaseng questions or concerns?
Well, alam mo, para sa atin, kung ano yung strategy ng Amerika, it jives with ours because tayo naman, as I said, it's important for our defense. No? Ngayon, yung United States, ang kanilang objective is deterrence. Gusto nila, ayaw nila, a country like the US is not only an economic power, but it is also a military power. So they have always practiced that even long before. No? So learning from the history of the world, you have to always be ready for the worst. But that is part and parcel also yung deterrence part of it. Kailangan makita rin ng mga ibang bayan na lahat ng mga gusto ng peace, kung makakagulo, we'll all have to be ready for that. Pero no one, including China, there is no country that wants to see another major war that will happen to the world. Alam mo, at saka kung magkaroon man ng ganyan na gulo, alam naman natin na parang it's the end of the world na. Dahil iba na yung mga, we know what nuclear weapons are, we know what destruction it will be in the world. No one, absolutely no one, in his right mind will want to see something like that happen. Kaya tayo, ating is to contribute to the peaceful resolution of all of these conflicts. Yan ang ating objective dyan. I think that is what President Marcos has in mind when he has all of these agreements that we're doing to like-minded countries. Maraming mga ibang bayan, kagaya ng Japan at Australia at New Zealand at other countries that want to have a peaceful resolution of all of the potential conflicts that may happen in their area. Dahil no one will be spared from this. Kung magkaroon man ng gulo dyan, lahat damay. No one will be spared.
Sir,
maski na sabihin natin na gusto na hindi tayo kasali dyan, kasali tayo dyan. Maski na malayo mga ibang bayan kagaya ng Australia, alam nilang madadamay rin sila. I mean, we have to learn from the past. And that's what happened in World War II, di ba?
yes.
So, wala na ngayon yung isolated, hindi na ganun yun. Hindi na, iba na ngayon.
Yeah. So absolutely no war. Yun yung sinabi rin ng US Army ng sa Japan, no? Pero Ambassador, will the President have time to meet with the Filipinos there? Will that be part of his like a PhilCom, a big PhilCom event? Will there be one?
Well, I think that is being worked out right now. Yung mga ganyan talagang yung ating mga well, actually ang ating Consul General dito sa Washington DC, I think he's in charge of that one. So, in-organize sila yan that's part and parcel of what you do. We're hoping that if I'm not mistaken, nakalagay na rin yata sa schedule niya. Pero ako, alam mo kasi, JP, my concentration is yung mga bilateral meetings ng presidente. So, yung mga ganyan na Filipino events, while I know it is important for the president, I leave that to our people on the ground that are in touch with the Filipino communities. It's very important also for him, of course, and even for us at the embassy, that we always interact with our Filipino kababayans here in not only in Washington but all over the United States. They play a major role in our relationship with the United States. Yan ang tinatawag natin na people to people, di ba? That relationship is very, very strong. There are 4.3 million Filipinos here now in the United States, Filipino Americans included. So, malaking bagay yan. So, the president, I'm sure, will make the time to meet with them.
Ambassador, thank you very much for your time, sir.